are coming up on our 1-year anniversary of launching the Bridge Club at VMX. So thank you for that, first of all. So I will say, I do need to know, for those of you who don't know and have showed up because we have a great bar, Brenda and I started this because we wanted to connect the profession. We wanted to believe that if we got together, that there was nothing that we could not solve together. We do believe it can always happen over a glass of wine. So I do believe we are the only virtual community that encourages beverages at all turns. In fact, I think we are officially now looking for a beverage sponsor.
Yes, we are.
I do want to do, before I turn this over to Brenda, we do have some amazing sponsors that are really helping us bring this vision to life. We have, first of all, I want to thank Stephen Associates for tonight, for allowing us to be in this great place. So if you need advertising done and marketing, I'm going to just put that plug in there. I do want to also thank Mark Cushing with the Animal Policy Group. He is also one of our wonderful sponsors, so thank you so much to Mark. We have Royal Canin, who is right here as well.
Brent's here somewhere. There's Brent.
There's Brent. They were one of our early believers. And then finally we do have Zoetta too.
Yeah.
There's Mike right there. So thank you. We really appreciate it. So with that, I'm done talking. It is all yours, Mike.
Okay, all right, so my turn. So tonight we are here for the second Bridge Club Icon, Industry Icon event. And when this idea came up, you saw the little piece on the video where we're like, we kept talking to people and they're like, oh my gosh, you know Mike McFarland. Oh my gosh, you know Mike Kavanaugh. Oh my gosh, you know Bob Vetere. We're like, yeah, and they're like really nice people. So we started asking people, who would you like to get a chance to talk with? And we put together this Industry Icon event to help bring everybody in the profession together and give them a chance to get to know some of the people we really consider very special and who are making a big difference in this profession. So this is number 2. We had Kristen Peck, who is the president and CEO of Zoetis, as our first at AVMA last year. It was fun. For those of you who are here, a lot of you were there, and thank you very much for doing that. It was so much fun. So this year, we asked someone who is such an incredibly humble person. I really wasn't sure he would say yes, but he did. So we're going to talk tonight with Bob Vetere, who is the CEO and president of the American Pet Products Association. And get to know Bob a little bit better. We're going to do a little Q&A with him. And then we're going to encourage you guys to ask your specific questions. And then after that, we can all mingle and have a good time together again, too. So we're going to do that right now. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Bob Vetere. All right. I guess I should put my drink down right now. Okay. Probably is easier. Okay. You want to hold that for me? You want my ride? All right. Okay. So we're going to start out with just some questions, and then we'll let Bob talk with you a little bit more about himself. Try not to interrupt us during this part of the session, please. We've got some Q&A after the fact. So, I've known Bob for a few years now and always admired how incredibly smart he is, but you don't go around talking about it. Exactly. Look at his face. How incredibly humble he is about what he has accomplished and what the amazing things he is bringing to bear in this profession in the pet care world. So one of the first things that I want to start out by talking a little bit about your past. So we were talking about the Bridge Club. We were talking about the Bridge Club and the meaning of the Bridge Club and why Catherine and I called it that. And you revealed you have a special connection to the game of bridge. So let's talk a little bit about that.
It goes back to college, which is years and decades ago. But when I got into my fraternity house at Rensselaer, I found that playing cards was an important part of being there, and I always loved playing cards. And then I found out that the seniors and juniors were really into the game of bridge. And I found that that was the easiest way to get to be friends with the seniors and juniors. I couldn't even spell bridge, let alone play it, but slow but sure I got to learn the game. And then I also found out that that was where the alcoholic beverages constantly flowed at the party. So
see, this is why another reason we love him so much.
It got really easy at that point. Didn't do much for my grades, but it did great for my socialization in the fraternity house. So it was fun, and I've stayed with the game ever since. It's a challenge that I'll never be good at, but always have fun with.
Well, it's interesting. I showed this with a couple of other people. Catherine and I discovered that bridge is the only game that a computer cannot beat. So you need that human connection, right, to play the game, which is a big part of why we're named the Bridge Club. So see, Bob captured that really early on too.
I must be a computer because I can't be.
All right, so question number 2. You've had, and a lot of people who know Bob may not realize what an incredibly successful career you had even before you came into the pet healthcare space. You know, but one of the things that when we were talking a little bit about what we wanted to do here tonight, you know, you were talking about the insight between being the head of a company and then coming to work at the American Pet Products Association, and the kind of differences in those roles. So if you'd share a little bit of your earned wisdom with the crowd, that'd be great.
Sure. You know, I started with Union Carbide. I was making plastic bags in second shift in New Jersey. And, you know, slowly worked my way through that and went into engineering and went into marketing and went into all different kinds of things. And slowly but surely worked my way up. But what I got to realize, the big thing, especially when you're in a stock owned company, investors and everything, quarter to quarter was your life. Okay, you had to make this quarter's numbers, and then next quarter you worried about next quarter's numbers. And if you had to borrow from next quarter into this quarter, that was okay. And you did it. And so I got to be really good at that. Being an Italian from northern New Jersey, knew how to hide numbers everywhere you want. So it got easy to be successful in this. And then, you know, I reached a point where it was great and everything, and then I moved over to the not-for-profit world after Clorox bought the companies from Union Carbide and everything. So now you get into the not-for-profit world, and it's different, because now you're sitting at a table with your board, and there you've got, in my case, 9 people who also were used to only having to answer to themselves, and their way was the right way, and they always knew what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And I had to convince them that, no, these were all really good ideas, but you still have to listen to me. So it became, which only happens once in a while, but it really, you know, it was just that dramatically different. The other biggest thing that I found difference was, like I said, we lived quarter to quarter when we were there, and if you didn't make your quarter, oh my God, the questions you had to answer. Here, you're looking at a bigger picture on the not-for-profit side. It's, you know, if we're trying to work together for the betterment of pets and animals, it's not always going to be a 3-month decision. It's not going to be like we're going to come up with a whole new way of taking care of animals. 3 months from now, you have to make sure all the animals in the world are well, and then we'll worry about next quarter. It's something different than that, and that's not an easy sell to everybody. And yeah, I need you to give me some money to work with things like Havery and the Leadership Council and everything. And no, I'm not going to show you a profit in the first 6 months, in the first 9, in the first year. But I'm going to have a whole lot of people working together that never worked together before. We're going to start to get a team effort going in a direction we never went before. Big difference than what it was before. Rewarding, yes. Challenging, absolutely. But I like it a lot better.
Yeah, well, it always feels good to give back a little bit, I think, you know. And so to that point, you had mentioned to me too when we were talking, the very different feeling that you noticed almost immediately about working in this particular space, you know, and how the motivation that brought to you. So I would love for you to share that with them too, so it's not just me who's heard, you know, the passion and the motivation behind it.
In my previous job, you could just fall so much in love with a Glad bag or a Press-On anything. I mean, you know, it's like, wow, that's a really nice bottle, but, and then that's where it ended. Once you got into this side, I mean, before I got into APPA, we bought a cat litter company when I was with First Brands, and A&M, I forget what it was. It's some cat litter company down in Texas. And that was my first introduction to really working on the pet side. And it was different. It was not, you know, I'm worried about how pretty the dirt is in a bag. It's like, is this really good for the cat? Is this really something that's going to make the cat's life better? And then I got to know all you folks. And within the manufacturing side where I spent most of my beginnings, it's like, okay, that's all well and good, but these guys really still do care that the foods and the products and the meds and everything else that they make are going to be good for the ultimate pet. And then I got a chance to start to reach out more to veterinarians and reach out to the groomers and to reach out to the collegiate folks and the students. And I got to realize that it's that same common thread. No matter how different we are in everything we do, there's still that ultimate common goal at the end of what's best for the pet, what's going to give this animal a better life, what's going to make it good for him. And then I've had the pleasure, you know, in working with Habry to find out that it goes both ways. The pet's also giving us something, making us feel good, giving us all the benefits in the world, and here we are doing the same thing for them. So to me, that kind of love and passion is just, as I said to Brenda before, I said, a lot of people I find, you know, we're our trade show, Global Pet Expo, every year. I'm always talking to the same people, except they're with different companies. I've left my company, but I show up over here, and I've left my company, no, I show up over here. Nobody ever leaves completely. It's like nobody goes back to making plastic bags in antifreeze. Everybody comes this way.
It's a good place to be, right?
Yeah, there's
Absolutely.
no question about it. It's something you could really get passionate about and feel good about for all the right reasons. It's been such a positive experience for me.
It's a fabulous place to be, and I you know, Bob's going to be retiring from the American Pet Products Association very shortly, but he's going to live on in our community through Habry, through your involvement in so many special areas. So I really would encourage everybody to take the opportunity to get to know Bob. He's one of the most incredibly generous people I think you'll ever meet. So don't be afraid to ask questions now or in a little bit later on. You know, and I think together we're just all connecting and making this a stronger community and a better world for pets. And I think nobody embodies that really more than Bob. So just again, from the bottom of our hearts, Catherine and I'm probably going to cry because I always do, right? That's just me. Really, thank you for saying yes to this. I know it's kind of out of your comfort zone because you don't like the attention on you, but believe me, buddy, you deserve it. So thank you for doing that. So, yeah. So we're going to take a few minutes now to see if anybody wants to ask questions. Oh my gosh, we have hands raised already. Yay, you don't have to make anybody do this. And then we'll all get together and mingling. So, okay, Mark.
So comment and a question, Bob. I did not realize that you were supposed to use plastic bags with your antifreeze. So just maybe side note later, just let me know how that works.
It looks like cut a hole with oars.
I had a nun suggest that for me once. Great show. Now,
That's another story.
if people haven't been to the Global Pet Expo, which is cavernous, I mean, it's the convention center, you know, 20 football fields, and go sometime because you cannot believe how, no matter how long you've been in this industry, you can't believe the products that are out there for pets. So I want you to just tell me, because I asked you, what was the craziest, funniest, just most bizarre product that ever showed up in the Global Pet Expo show, and you even thought to yourself, should we really have this here?
Two. By the way, just to go with what Marcus said, if you look at the entire convention center from one end to the other, that's how big our show is.
That's crazy.
And it'll be here in March, at the end of March. Two products that come to mind immediately. The first one was a company that traditionally made women's clothing that decided that sexy underwear for your dog was a really good idea. Scouts honor, okay? They had several dogs dressed in this fluffy, and the human models to walk with them in matching clothes. It was great. You can now match it.
Which aisle was that? I'm just
I know they invited back every year.
Please tell us they failed.
Yeah, regretfully it was a one and done, but it was still fun to watch. And last year we had a company called Meowawana. Who, it's exactly what it sounds like. The guys who were with it, I think you probably saw them, right, Jen? Dressed up as cats, and if these guys weren't, then they were close to bouncing all over, talking to you, how I can make your cat feel better and everything. And so those two kind of stand out, Mike. There's been others, but I think those two.
Those are pretty good examples, I would say. Deborah.
So Bob, we met many years ago at Green Chimneys and Sam Ross. So
Yes.
I'd love you to tell the group a little bit about your Habiri information, because it is beyond explanation. You've done a great job.
Green Chimneys, just real quick for anybody who doesn't know, is a school in Brewster, New York for special needs children. They're between the ages of 5 and 17. They are very, very troubled students on the autism spectrum scale, just tough in dealing with each other and whatever. So it's a regular school for that. But as a part of the school, they have a working farm. And part of it is all sorts of vegetation that grows that the kids tend. But the other part of it are animals. And not just goats and sheep, but they also have Icelandic ponies, they have camels, they just got some miniature horses in. Yes, they've got animals I've never seen before. But the kids work with them. And what got me involved with them right at the beginning was I went into the school to visit because my predecessor at APPA was on their board, so he told me, don't worry about APPA, come up to Green Chimneys. So that was my first learning experience. But I went up to find a kid who was very, very much on the autism spectrum scale. Very difficult time just talking to people. Grabs me by the fingers, walks me over to the horse barn, points at the horses. I never get through this. Points at the horses and says, if it wasn't for me, those horses would not be well. They wouldn't be healthy. And he could sit there and talk to the horses, and he could read to the horses. Still trouble talking to people, but as long as he was next to the horses, he was comfortable talking to me and stuff. So I was hooked at that point. In fact, I just became chairman of their board. So it is just that kind of special. And that's what helped feed the love of HABRI, of the Human Animal Bond Research Institute. I mean, to see what humans derive from animals is just, you know, and it's ironic because I'm sitting here looking at the two people who were the most responsible for HABRI coming to be, with David Haworth and Mike McFarland. Yeah.
I'd like to just, we might have had something to do with it, but the person who was most responsible sitting over there in the chair. So
That's because I was good with the tin cup and pencil.
That's
I'll never forget. I had gone to Petco first and convinced Charlie Piscitello that he wanted to support this effort, along with Dr. Beck. It was a good sell with him. And then I went down to visit these guys and about 3 or 4 more people. And I remember we went through the whole thing, and Charlie was with us, and I think Dr. Beck was there. I can't even remember. But we get done with the whole meeting, and Mike looks at me and says, well, this is really interesting. He says, give us a couple of weeks and we'll get back to you. I'm walking to my car in the parking lot. Mike calls me up and says, we're in. I said, okay, this is good. This is working well. And since then, it's grown into, thanks to Steve and Lindsay, it's become all that we ever dreamt it was going to be.
Anybody else? Mike?
I'll come out from behind the lamp.
Yes.
Oh, Mike.
Bob,
So,
look back over your checkered past, your
Well put.
illustrious career. If you had like one tip for success in life or business for millennials like me, what would that
first we have to work on definitions. That's a whole other issue.
suits that are over
It's funny, one of the things I learned, and it happens to be something that I wrote about, but I used to be the guy who would be right in your face trying to argue, do things my way, and this is what you got to do, and if you don't listen to me, you're a moron, this and the other thing. And it's amazing how little cooperation I got from that. And then I had a golden retriever, I had several golden retrievers, and I found that no matter how bad a day I had coming home from work, no matter how miserable I was, I could come home and I could just vent. And Dakota would sit there and he'd look at me and he'd look at me and he'd let me just run my mouth until my head fell off. And after I got done, he'd lick me in the face, pick up a tennis ball and go, you got that out of your system, let's go play now. And I found listening is a great art. And it's something that took me a long time to sit on my hands and bite my tongue, but that and 40 years of marriage, I think, have taught me very well. My friend, have taught me very well. But seriously, Mike, if there's one tip, it's just let people get out what they have to get out and then work from there. It's just so much easier that way.
Good stuff. Joy?
Over the duration of your career, what do you consider to be your greatest success and your greatest failure?
Let me do failure first. I think, well, that's hard. There's been so many of them. I think when I was first in the for-profit world and working with Union Carbide, and I was so focused on becoming the president of Union Carbide until they folded, and then the president of First Brands until they sold out, that I realized that I wasn't enjoying each step along the way and maximizing each step along the way. My greatest accomplishment, without a doubt in my mind, is the part that I played in forming HABRI and in pulling HABRI together, for all the good that it's doing and will continue to do far into the future after I'm not a part of it anymore, I couldn't possibly ask for a better piece of a legacy than that. That I will always be proud of what role I played with that.
Do we? Oh, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you.
That's me. So Bob, you are one of the most skilled conveners of people and groups that I know. Are there 2 or 3 things that you keep in your mind as you're bringing a group of strangers together into the same room that seems to be able to get things accomplished and out?
I think it's a good question. I think the best part of that, David, is to make sure that each person coming into that room thinks that they're coming into it for something that they want. And that's where the convener part gets to be handled, because you could have 5 people walking in with totally diametrically opposed ideas, but if you get them to sit in the room, you'll find that there's usually a common thread that you could start working from. And once you could get that, those people will stay there because, all right, there's a little piece of this that I could help, and there's a little piece of this that I could deal with. It's a challenge, but it's doable to get people to check their egos when they come into that room. But that to me has always been the best part of trying to get people together is, oh yeah, no, that's a really good idea. Come on, we're gonna sit and talk to it. I got a couple other people. No, that's a great idea. Come on, and just keep people going in that way, because then they're all fired up when they come in. Then they find out, I pulled the wool off. But usually they're there, and once they're there, they're gonna stay there. I mean, you get people who are supposedly diametrically opposed on everything, and you find out, nah, not really, especially in this industry, okay? You go to the other industries and, I'm gonna make a plastic bag this way, I wanna make it that way. With this, it's different because there's still the animal, there's still the health of the pet that pulls it together, so it gets a lot easier.
Good questions. Do we have any more questions for the crowd? Or for Bob, actually, but in front of the crowd.
They want to drink.
Yeah, well, that's okay. And so before we let everybody get back to talking a little bit again, we have a little gift for Bob and his lovely wife Brenda, who we want to thank also for being here today. So by the way, love your names, by the way. Exactly. But those of you who are Bridgers know how incredibly cherished and special our Bridge Club coffee mugs are. So we have one for each, you and your wife, so you can have coffee together in the morning, or put whatever in it you want, because we do that.
So we never ask what's in the mug.
Yes, we never ask, it's always between you.
I don't
But
know if
anyway,
pictures or anything good.
no, that's why you can't see through them, so they're opaque. But anyway, so one for each of you guys, so
Thank you.
anyway,
I
yes, you can put
appreciate
your McAllen in it if you want.
That's where I'm going next.
Okay, exactly. And we just want to say thank you to it. Yes. Bob's gonna do the toast. Oh, we need a drink for Bob.
I got
Yes.
water.
Good, okay, all right. Or you can hang on to my ride if you want.
No, that'll be in a few
Okay.
minutes.
All right. So, traditionally with the Bridge Club, we usually start with a toast, but we kind of got carried away today, so we're going to end with a toast. And ask Bob to please be the one who offers that before we all get back together to socializing.
You didn't warn me on this one.
I know, so I forgot that part. Damn it.
I could not thank everybody in this room enough to be part of a community that has become so important, a part of my life. To you who I've worked with before and continue to work with, special toast, but to everybody here, you guys make this industry as special as it is, and you make it something that you get up in the morning happy to be a part of and happy to be working with. And I salute each and every one of you for it.
Cheers. Cheers.
And the bar is open.
Thank those of you who are Bridgers know how incredibly cherished and special our Bridge Club coffee mugs are. So we have one for each, you and your wife. So you can have coffee together in the morning, or put whatever in it you want, because we do that.
So we never ask what's in the mug.
Yes, we never ask. It's always between you.
I don't
But
know if
anyway.
pictures or anything good.
No. That's why you can't see through them. So they're opaque. But anyway, so one for each of you guys. So
Thank you. I
anyway,
really
yes, you can put
appreciate
your McAllen in it if you want.
That's where I'm going next.
Okay. Exactly. And we just want to say thank you to it. Yes. Bob's going to do the toast. Oh, we need a drink for Bob.
I got
Yes.
water.
Good. Okay. All right. Or you can hang on to my rye if you want.
No, that'll be in a few minutes.
All right. So, traditionally with the Bridge Club, we usually start with a toast, but we kind of got carried away today, so we're going to end with a toast. and ask Bob to please be the one who offers that before we all get back together to socializing.
You didn't warn me on this one.
I know, sorry, I forgot that part.
I could not thank everybody in this room enough to be part of a community that has become so important, a part of my life. To you who I've worked with before and continue to work with, special toast, but to everybody here, you guys make this industry as special as it is, and you make it something that you get up in the morning happy to be a part of and happy to be working with. And I salute each and every one of you for it.
Cheers. Cheers.
And the bar is open.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.